Jamaica's former education minister and 2 family members among 5 facing corruption charges. And in sports, Trinidad and Tobago's women's football team searching for new opportunities after losing their Olympic bid. I'm Ricardo Robertson. This is Caribbean Intent for Thursday, October 10th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Well, homelessness has reached crisis proportions in the U.S., but nowhere does it seem to be as bad as it is in Los Angeles and San Francisco. A mere block away from LA's glitzy downtown sports and concert arenas sits an ever-increasing Skid Row tent city with rampant filth, stench, open defecation, and dangerous presence of used hypodermic needles littering the streets and gutters. Now, no human being should have to live like that. California has made plastic grocery bags and drinking straws illegal.
Today we're here for the case of Debbie Kropp. And it's a David and Goliath story. It involved a major Fortune 500 company, Coca-Cola. Tell our audience a little bit about who Debbie is.
She's very near and dear to me. When I first met Debbie, I was at a very large firm here in Florida, and they were pushing me to take on this case of Debbie Kropp. I came in.
We begin in Jamaica, where former Education Minister Will Reid, his wife, his daughter, and President of the Caribbean Maritime University Professor Fritz Pinnock have been slapped with corruption-related charges. Also charged is Councillor of the Brownstown Division in St. Anne, Kim Brown Lawrence. They were slapped with charges following police raids at their homes yesterday. In a statement issued late last night, police said that after interviews with detectives, the 5 were charged with a range of offences, including breaches of the Corruption Prevention Act, conspiracy to defraud, misconduct in a public office at common law, and breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act. The major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency said they would be taken to court as soon as possible. Meantime, the youth arm of Jamaica's main opposition People's National Party has called for the immediate resignation of Justice Minister Delroy Chuck over remarks he made regarding the arrests of Reid and the others. Chuck had said the arrests took place like Nicodemus in the night, and police could simply have asked the individuals to come in as they were not running away and had made themselves available on all occasions. In reaction, the PNP Youth Organization said the Justice Minister's statements had eroded any confidence that he would not interfere with the investigation or prosecution of the case, noting that Chuck's daughter, an attorney, had been called to Reid's residence yesterday when the police were there. The organization said it firmly believed that the minister represents a classic case of conflict of interest and should recuse himself from the office to avoid any further impropriety or exercise of undue influence that may be seen as benefiting his daughter or his former colleague. The government of Antigua and Barbuda says it is no longer interested in buying Barbados' shares in regional airline Liat. In fact, St. John's says it is adopting a new financial route aimed at providing funds to the cash-strapped carrier. The government is planning to invest millions of dollars directly into the airline, stating that buying the shares from Bridgetown would not benefit Liat in any way because the money would be going into the pockets of Barbados. Antigua and Barbuda had been holding talks with Barbados on acquiring further shares in the Antigua-based airline, but it said it was unwilling to pay the estimated $44 million Bridgetown had been asking for the sale of its shares. Antigua and Barbuda currently holds 34% of the shares, and had it succeeded in convincing the Mia Mottley administration to part with its Liat shares, would have 81% of the airline. St. John's had sought to acquire the Liat shares owned by Barbados through a takeover of the liability of Barbados to the Caribbean Development Bank. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said he has held talks with his Barbadian counterpart on the new direction.
I have indicated to her that the Antiguan and Barbudan government has $40 million that could be made available to recapitalize Liat. and that there should be a capital call, a fresh capital call, in which we will have the existing shareholders and possibly new shareholders recapitalize Liat. That will be followed with a restructuring of Liat to ensure that it becomes a little leaner and to ensure that it can at least turn an operating profit going forward. So, we obviously will have further discussions, but the idea that we'll purchase Barbados' shares, that is no longer on the table. We've taken the decision, instead of buying Barbados' shares, that we will invest directly in Liat, subject to the approval of the other shareholder governments, and I don't see why they should stop us from investing directly in Liat. Liat needs the cash.
In other news now, Barbados' National Council on Substance Abuse says it is in full support of a medicinal cannabis industry for the island. Minister of Home Affairs Edmund Hinkson, under whose ministry the NCSA falls, said the public, particularly those who are sick, has been calling for the establishment of the medical cannabis industry for years. The minister was part of a 15-member Joint Select Committee that listened to recommendations from stakeholders and the public on the Medicinal Cannabis Bill 2019. He says society can't allow the conservatism and sometimes fear and uncertainty to venture into innovative enterprises or initiatives. NCSA's chairman, Hadford Howell, said while the agency supported the move, it is still advocating against substance abuse or misuse. Howell stressed that there is a difference in medical marijuana and recreational marijuana. He noted that the NCSA had submitted a paper to the Minister of Home Affairs on October 17, 2018, expressing its concerns about the matter. And stay with us, your Midday Sport is next.
This area here, what we call back road, and this set spot that I'm going to tell you about. For years, we have illegal dumping of garbage here. Yeah, but they cleared them out already, They cleared them out already.
Now that Trinidad and Tobago's quest for an Olympic berth is over, the question is, what's next for the senior women's team? The head coach says he will be scouting for new talent and hopes to create opportunities to keep the girls active, as we hear in this report from TV6's Sergio Defoe.
To bring back the excitement to the women's game, but he definitely has his work cut out for now. St. Kitts and Nevis, not Trinidad and Tobago, will be advancing to the next round of the CONCACAF Olympic qualifying tournament. Head coach Stephen Defoe said the journey continues.
From here, I go back and start doing more combines to keep looking for more players to build the program as much as possible in all the different age groups, but for the senior team also. There are a lot of players, as I said, who are out there that can make this one, that surely when the next team start playing, you'll see a whole new different team.
Defoe identified a big problem in the TNT women's program, that being, Defoe says, apart from the 3-month Wolf League, not enough women's football is being played.
And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.